So Nigerians in the northeast, northwest and north central zones are bracing for another brutal Harmattan season, scarred by the relentless onslaught of Islamist terror attacks. The rampaging gunmen are continuing their unbridled bloodshed, unleashing unspeakable horrors on innocent civilians. Thousands have fallen victim to the most heinous terrorist atrocities in modern Nigerian history, as coordinated attacks by the militants and pillaging bandits devastate villages and towns. Armed with automatic rifles, suicide bomb vests and machetes, these ruthless attackers leave trails of death and destruction in their wake, blowing up markets and hacking escapees to death in gruesome displays of brutality. While Christians insist they're being targeted for their faith, much of the available data suggests that all faiths are under siege, and the militants are indiscriminately targeting anyone they deem to be an enemy. So after 16 years, what can the persistence of this threat be attributed to? Lack of effective governance, intelligence and security gaps, the complexity of the conflict, or all of the above? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the former governor of Kebbi State and former minister of the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja, Senator Adamu Aliero, who's also currently a member of the upper house of Nigeria's National Assembly. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you again.
Yeah, nice meeting you also.
What is your assessment of the current security situation in this country, keeping in mind the harsh threats from Donald Trump and with particular regard to terrorists and killings and bandit attacks in the northeast, northwest and north central regions?
Well, the security situation in Nigeria, to say the least, is alarming. Government is doing its very best, but unfortunately the very best is not good enough. A number of measures have been taken, but these measures have not yielded the required result, and that's why we keep on having bandits attacks, insurgents attacking villages, rampaging a whole population, killing thousands, and even people driven out of their farmlands, out of their houses, and they moved IDP camps in most of the northwestern states. Wherever you go, you see a large number of IDPs. Whether you're talking of Katsina, Zamfara, Kebbi, Sokoto, even Niger in the north central, the story is the same. To a large extent, this is attributable to a number of factors. Number one, we don't have enough workforce in the army, in the police force, and generally even in the civil defense, because the number of policemen we have in Nigeria is slightly above 280,000 workforce. This is far, far below the United Nations requirement of over 2 million. Even the army, we don't have more than 180,000 men workforce. Just 2 weeks ago, we cleared and confirmed the Chief of Defense Staff, and he told us that the total number of soldiers in the army is not more than 177,000 to police the entire...
That is shocking, isn't it?
Yeah, it is shocking. It's shocking to police the entire nation of over 220 million people. I said the police force is not more than 300,000 to police 220 million people. And surprisingly, even this number is ill-equipped and ill-trained and
many of them,
they are not motivated.
Yeah, and many of them, I mean, we see them going around with big men like yourself. I mean,
I'm coming to that.
They're guarding you rather than guarding the ordinary people.
The number of policemen we have, that the 280,000 we have, half of them are devoted to guard duties. Governors, ministers,
Absolutely.
senators, and maybe even state commissioners and judiciary too, judicial officers. So you can imagine if half of that is devoted to or committed to guard duties, it means you have barely 190,000 to police the entire 200 million people. It is grossly inadequate, and we need to recruit a large number of policemen.
Do you think state police might fill that gap?
No. It will even compound the situation. I am one of those who don't believe in state police.
Tell us why.
What I believe is increase the number of federal police. If you have 300,000 men, make it 1,500,000. Equip them, train them properly, and give them motivation.
But you're a former governor yourself.
Yes.
Don't you think that takes away from you your constitutional mandate as the chief security officer of your state if you can't have any control over the police?
As far as the 1999 Constitution is concerned, the governor of the state is just chief security officer by name. The operational control of the police force rests with the Inspector General of Police.
Yeah, but should it be like that? I mean, in a place, particularly in the current circumstances, we're talking about the thousands of people who've been killed over many years, 16 years of insurgency. Instead of ending, we're seeing the stuff metamorphosing into banditry and all kinds of
It is simply because we don't have enough policemen. In a situation where you go to a local government that has a population of 1 million people, for example, and they don't have more than 25 or 30 policemen, and they don't have more than 25 rifles. If there is an attack from bandits of maybe using 50 motorcycles, each of the motorcycles have been about 3 bandits with AK-47. How do they confront, this number of bandits with only 25 of them?
Right.
Even if all of them.
Yes, you have a point. You have a point there.
Yes.
But how do you think?
What we want is let the federal government increase the number of workforce in the police force.
Yeah, but this
is a solution.
They've been saying
but
this
state,
for a
state
long
police,
time.
No,
why aren't they
state
increasing?
Police is not the solution.
Right,
it will,
okay.
It will only compound the problem.
Let's look at the federal.
Yes.
Okay. This has been said many, many times over the years. Why isn't that number going up?
Yeah, I think the government is now recruiting 10,000 policemen annually. It started as far back as 2022, 2023. Now we are in 2025. They have not concluded the 2025 recruitment. I believe it's ongoing, but it is a far cry.
Yeah.
It's just
it's a tiny thing.
Yeah, very.
And how do you think, Senator, that all this has affected and changed Nigeria? How much has it ended innocence for so many people in this country and beyond, to the extent that we now have the US president wading into the fray because of the perception that the Nigerian government has failed woefully to take proper charge of the situation?
Yeah, unfortunately, there is a misconception about that narrative. The issue of Christian genocide is being misrepresented. If you are talking of a state like Zamfara or Sokoto or even Katsina, most of the people killed are Muslims. So I don't believe there is Christian genocide in these states. Even in Kaduna, where we have Muslims and Christians, both of them suffer casualties. The issue should go beyond religion. We are talking about human beings being killed. And I want us to see it that way. Maybe if you view it, we'll try to find a solution, not giving it religious connotation. It will not help.
Right. Well, let's say that it's not clearly. I think a lot of people agree. The data also seems to suggest that there isn't a religious war, even though even though some of the
we have bandits and insurgents that are killing both Muslims and Christians.
But even though some of the insurgents, some of the militants, in their own particular ideology, have genocidal intentions, that does not reflect the sort of the way Nigeria operates. It's groups of people who have their own ideology.
Nigeria is a
well, let's be clear that they have that
Nigeria
ideology.
is a secular state.
Yeah, but what I was going to ask you...
It's a state that both Muslim, Christians, and even non-religious believers are free to practice whatever they want.
Well, what I was going to ask
nobody is suffering from any kind of religious discrimination.
Right. Let's get past the religious thing. What I was going to ask you was, how much does this have to do with the fact that Nigeria's youth feel lost and unrequited, watching their future exploding in their faces, all of them huddled on this conveyor belt driven by politicians that are feeding this destruction of their future and effectively lynching their hopes?
Well, to a large extent, the youth are disappointed, I must admit, because...
Rightfully so.
Well, rightly so, because by now we should be able to overcome all this crisis. We started as far back as 2010, and we have almost 3 governments gone. Jonathan government, it started Jonathan's government, Buhari's government. Now we are in President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government that inherited all these problems, all these crises. And the end is not in sight, even though a lot is being done, like I said earlier, but a lot need to be done in order to overcome out of the wood. Our farmers cannot go to their farm and produce whatever they want to produce without fear of being arrested, or killed, or abducted, and kept in a place where ransom is demanded. Whether they have money or not, they have to sell all what they have to make up and get themselves free. Otherwise, they get killed.
But you were the governor of the northwestern state of Kebbi. How much did you feel the weight of responsibility and expectation from the youth in that state? And what difference did you make for them?
Actually, Junior, at one time, we had no crisis like you have now. You can leave Abuja in the night and drive to Kebbi early in the morning or in the evening and move freely without any fear whatsoever. But things have changed. I would say, Junior, at one time, we met the expectation of the youth to a large extent. We generated employment for people. We gave them proper education. We build infrastructure all over.
Well, if you gave them all those things, why are they turning to crime on the level that they are? Because it's been getting progressively worse.
We left governance almost, how many years now? Almost 18 years. So within 18 years, there is a big time lapse, and anything can happen.
But President Jonathan could make the same argument that because you mentioned him as one of the administrations.
No, the insecurity situation started during Jonathan's administration.
But it's been getting progressively worse.
Yeah, it's getting progressively worse into Buhari's government, now into President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government. And as we solve one problem, another one will emerge. We are almost done with bandits around Zamfara, Kebbi, Sokoto, Agzi. Then suddenly we started getting new threats from another group of bandits called Lakurawa. These people came all the way from Burkina Faso, Mali, into Niger and into Nigeria. They are now going around Sokoto, Zamfara, Kebbi, and even Niger State, killing people, abducting people, driving away their cattle, imposing taxes on them. And the policemen can't do anything because they are not properly armed. They are not properly equipped.
Right.
They don't have enough personnel to confront them.
Well, let me look at this.
They carry more sophisticated weapons than even the police.
Well, that's a failure of the part of the security architecture of this country, isn't it? But I don't know whether you know this. I want to look at this from a different point of view and to get your perspective.
Yes.
As something of a statesman yourself. You're a senator, you've been a governor, you've been a minister.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you know this, but France has today been commemorating the 10th anniversary of the Bataclan massacres in Paris, in which 130 people were killed by Islamist terrorists. 130 people. That's bad enough, but 130 remembered and commemorated every year since that terrible event happened 10 years ago. By contrast, here in Nigeria, tens of thousands of people have been murdered by Islamist terrorists since 2009, and yet no commemorations, no remembrances. Why is it that we don't pay tribute to those who died in this country?
Well, to a large extent, what you said is true. We don't pay tribute to people.
Well, that's
died.
obvious. The question is, why not?
Why not is simply because we don't give attention to this kind of thing, unfortunately. And it is so bad that we don't do it. And even in the Senate, hardly a week passed without somebody moving a motion that so number of people are killed. The senator will move a motion, somebody will support it, somebody will second it, and then a minute's silence is observed.
And that's the end of it.
That's the end of it.
Because the president doesn't seem to be moved. And neither...
No, I wouldn't say that.
No, let me just make the point. And neither is the National Assembly. I mean, you are a serving senator. What is the National Assembly, of which you're a part, doing about commemorating these people? Because you can pass resolutions, you can make laws that can force the hand of the government in this regard. I mean, the problem in this country is that we do not respect human life.
We do.
We don't.
If
we did, we would be commemorating.
We respect human life.
On what basis do we do that?
Well, we respect human life. That's why we are deeply worried and concerned that something has to be done to tame the tide of insecurity.
It can't be.
Let me give you an example.
Senator.
In the Senate, right from the 8th Senate, we held security summit. We invited service chiefs, security experts, civil society, and we sit behind closed doors and discuss exhaustively and come up with resolutions, and we send them to the government. And we even follow up to ensure that those resolutions are implemented. Now, I think during Buhari's time, a number of measures were taken, and those measures actually we started seeing results.
What I'm saying, Senator,
Yeah.
is that the approach has to be multi-pronged.
No, but I have not made the point.
Okay, sorry, go on.
You are saying that we don't value human life. We value human life. And that's why we are concerned with the killings, senseless killings all over Nigeria.
Yeah, but my point is not so much about, obviously you're talking to the security chiefs and all the rest of them. Mm-hmm. I am saying, what gesture do you show the people who are victims of these killings beyond packing them into horrific IDP camps? I mean, how do we remember? I gave you an example of France. Yeah. In France, they have today opened a commemorative garden in honor and remembrance of those who were killed at that Bataclan massacre. Wouldn't that be nice if we could do something like that here in Abuja? Wouldn't it be nice if every year all of you who are living off the fat of this country got together, the National Assembly, the ministers, the president, and every year commemorated the thousands of people who've been killed, set up something where people can come and do their minute of silence, a garden that is set up in remembrance of those people, or something that tells the people whose fathers and mothers and brothers and sisters have been killed that this country cares about them. Don't you think that would make a difference?
It all depends on what you're talking about.
Well, I just told you what I'm talking about.
Yes, if you're talking about insurgents killing people, and in every state, we do have governors that sit and discuss with clerics, whether they are Christians or Muslims, and pray for the repose of those that lost their lives. I know it happens in a number of states. Maybe it doesn't happen here in Abuja. We always do Armed Forces Remembrance Day here in
but it's
Square.
A national thing,
It
should be a national thing.
Well, it's a national thing, but I believe it should go beyond Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Even people that got killed as a result of insurgency or banditry should also be included in such celebrations.
I think a lot of people would agree with you.
Yes. That I agree with you also.
But do you also agree with those who say that at this point in Nigeria's history, we have to redefine ourselves as a nation? We cannot continue to define ourselves based on ethnicity and religion. Being Nigerian should be about believing in a set of ideals, the rights of individuals, the rule of law, etc. That is the only way you can hold this incredible diversity called Nigeria together, so that patchwork heritage becomes a strength. A people united by their ideals rather than divided by their differences. I think it was Barack Obama who said that. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree with that to a large extent, because we have to build a nation devoid of primordial sentiments. Forget about whether you are a Yoruba man, or a Hausa man, an Igbo man, a Kanuri man, a Nupe man, a Tikiri man. We believe in one Nigeria. And we should see Nigeria as a nation, not belonging to different tribes. We should cut barriers. And once we do that, we will build a nation. And this is stated in our Constitution, fundamental objectives, principles, where if we go by what is contained in our Constitution, and if we believe in what is stated in our Constitution and we try to practice it, then we will have a nation where no man will be oppressed.
Now, let me just move away from that, because we're very fortunate to have you here, because you're a member of the Senate Committee on Land Transport, which is railway and mass transit. Talk to us about railway contracts that there are at the moment in this country. Most of them aren't completed. I understand only Port Harcourt to Aba, I believe, is completed. Which are the ones that are ongoing?
Well, we have Lagos to Ibadan that is completed, and right now the train is running between Lagos and Ibadan. We have Kaduna, Abuja completed, and we have train service operating on Abuja to Kaduna. The one ongoing is Kaduna to Kano, just to link up the one from Kano to Abuja. And that is ongoing, and I think over 55% of that is done.
Right.
Then we have Kano, Maradi via Daura. Maradi is in Niger Republic. We have done close to about 60% of that, and hopefully it should be completed by 2027.
Right.
Yes. Well, then we have Port Harcourt, Aba.
Yeah, that is completed,
the train is,
isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
Right.
It's not completed. It's rehabilitation.
Right.
Narrow gauge.
Right.
But it is to be extended to Enugu, to Jos, to Makodi, to
Right.
Jos, to Bauchi, up to Meduguri.
Right.
Then we have the Wari Etape completed. It's just
I thought that was
unfortunate.
the one they said was suffering from vandalism and
Yeah,
things.
exactly. We have 2 train derailment of
Right.
recent because of vandalism.
Right.
Criminals do go and remove rail tracks and sell them to people that do iron rods. Unfortunately, we can't get hold of those criminals. And it happens twice this month. Nigerian Railway Corporation is doing its best. But we can't avoid it.
Right.
Because criminals are criminals. They can go to any extent to commit crimes.
Well, let's talk about the other thing that you're also you've got a handle on. Let me put it that way: food importation, because you're also a farmer, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a farmer.
How much are we importing food in Nigeria at the moment? Because this country was almost self-sufficient in food importation under President Buhari. But I understand that all of that has been overturned under President Tinubu. Is that the case? If so, how much is that hurting the local farmers?
Yeah, there seems to be a policy reversal when this government decided to allow food importation for 6 months without payment of import duty. And it gave licenses to, I think, about two firms. And they brought in rice, some even imported maize, some imported soybeans, and it made the price of food items produced to crash down. And that has discouraged farmers from going back to the farm to produce more food. Unfortunately, governors and even National Assembly members have made a lot of noise saying that instead of allowing food importation, why don't we buy whatever our farmers produce and keep in our warehouses? In period of scarcity, you bring out what you have in the store and stabilize the price. And then by buying whatever the farmers produce, you guarantee minimum price for their produce, and they won't be discouraged.
Yeah.
to
And that's
go
important to grow the local industry.
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. And then you also have to subsidize inputs like fertilizers, pesticides, herbicides, buy a large number of these, reduce the price and give it to farmers so that you can boost agricultural production. And then whatever they produce, you buy it and store it in the warehouses or in your silos, where we have silos all over the country. And when there is scarcity of food, or if the price is going up very high, you want to stabilize the price, bring what you have in the silos, sell it to the market, and the price will get stabilized. Farmers will not lose. Ordinary people will also be assisted to make sure that they can afford to buy food and keep themselves alive. By so doing, employment will be generated instead of sending people out of employment, which will accentuate, insecurity we have.
That's a very good point. On that note, I want to thank you very much indeed, Senator, for coming in and talking to us about all these different things. Senator Adamu Aliero is the former governor of Kebbi State, former minister of the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja, and currently a member of the Senate of Nigeria's National Assembly. Thank you very much indeed. Good to see you.
Thank you very much.